So Nancy, tell me, as a mother, and now you're a caregiver for Taylor, what was the transition like? Tell us a little bit about this new normal that you had in your life.
Well, again, Taylor's very independent. And so,
was that from the beginning when she was a kid?
She's always been very independent. And so it was a huge change for her. And I think it scared her. So it made it, I was kind of worried that she wouldn't let us help or wouldn't, you know, want the help.
Or like push you away a little bit and try to be more independent?
She really needed it. It's no secret that lung surgery is no walk in the park. And she needed a lot of support, doing basic things like getting to the bathroom. Originally, right after surgery, the chest tube and all the materials that have to go with you to walk, we had to get her up to walk in the halls, and she had never experienced pain at that level. She had never had a child, she had never had any surgery.
And she was 21.
And she thought, I mean, I think she probably thought she was close to death. And so walking up and down the hall, carrying the IV pole, carrying the pump, and working through the pain, it was heartbreaking. It really was. But we were all there as cheerleaders. We have a large family, and so we would rotate in. And, you know, somebody that doesn't have a large family, friends are always wanting to know, what can we do to help? And we did use them as well, a lot, mainly for food preparation. But, you know, if you don't have a large family, having people in the hospital to walk in the hall and to carry all that equipment and stuff and to push through that pain and to continue to be basically cheerleaders.
Taylor, what do you think? When was the first time when you felt saying, you know, I do need help? You know, so for a lot of our patients, you're like, you know, they're like, well, you know, I can be strong through this and everything, but the thought is that however strong you may be, it's okay to reach out for help. Yeah. So when in your cancer journey, when did you feel like it's, you know, I'm going to reach out for help for this?
So I think a defining moment for me was the first appointment at the surgeon's office. My dad parked in the parking deck and we were just going to walk over to the physician's office, and I got about halfway across the crosswalk and realized there is no way that I can make it. And so that was kind of like a defining moment for me to say, like, I'm really sick. And so I had to ask for a wheelchair. So that was the first kind of ask for help, which was difficult. And then, you know, after the surgery, I didn't have a choice but to ask for help. I mean, I couldn't sit up alone. So you just learn to ask for it and be gracious. And, you know, thankfully I had a support system and family and friends that were as awesome as they were.
And so how many brothers and sisters do you have?
So I'm one of 5.
One of 5?
Yeah. I have an older sister and 3 younger brothers. So my sister was a huge support person for me, particularly because, you know, we're very close. We were born 2 years apart to the day. And so she was a good person for me to kind of lean on and be able to talk to. And, you know, obviously she's very close with my parents as well. So she was able to relay some stuff to my parents that I necessarily either didn't want to talk or just, you know, it was easier to talk to her sometimes. And then, you know, my 3 younger brothers are younger, so they were still in school at home, you know, and we thankfully had friends and family that, and my grandmother who was able to care for them so that my parents could be with me while I was in the hospital.
It's amazing. So everybody came through and everybody. So how was your, you know, at that time at 21, was there a time when you took a pause after Taylor's, you know, adrenaline is pumping, everything you're saying, okay, let's get the resection, when was the time when you took a pause and said, you know, this is different, this is not, you know, normal? And what did you learn about yourself and Taylor and your older daughter about, you know, coming together as a family?
Well, I learned that we were really strong. I knew we were strong, but I don't think I realized exactly how strong. And I realized that we had a unique story. You know, this was, there was nobody that we were aware of that had walked this walk. And so I think from the very beginning we realized that we had a message to give, that this is not a normal
and you could
experience,
help other
and we
people
can help
along the
other
way.
people, right? And that pretty much summed up what our goal was to get through it. Sending her back to school was very difficult once she got better because she wasn't 100%. She was still weak, and that was very difficult to turn her loose and back at ECU. There was also a little issue that because they had not done the scan at the school, we felt a responsibility to get back in front of them really quickly, let them know the outcome.
Right.
Not to sue or to be mad, but to use it as a teaching experience.
To say, okay, she went through this, we kept on coming in and out of the out of the university and everything, something that they could watch out for. That younger people can also get cancer.
Right.
Because so that it doesn't get dismissed, you know. And my parents, both of them, sat down with, you know, university officials and kind of said, you know, we want to make sure this doesn't ever happen to somebody else, and that, you know, if patients come in and have issues, that we work them up fully and don't dismiss it, because they're supposed to be young, healthy, collegiate students.
But something exactly like you were saying, you were running, you were doing everything, and suddenly things changed. So there was definitely a change in something that was going on, and sometimes, mostly it's could be nothing, but it does turn out to be.
It doesn't hurt to work it up.
It doesn't hurt to work it up.
And another thing that in hindsight, when we got all the medical records, she had had a chest x-ray at the Student Health Center, and the report, what we were told was that the x-ray showed a little bit of a, I think they called it an infiltrate from the pneumonia, and that re-x-raying follow-up was needed. That was in the report, but what we were told was that we did not need to follow up, that it was just a leftover from her prior pneumonia. So actually, if we had gotten the actual x-ray report, it would have given us the instructions that the radiologist wanted, which was further follow-up. And we didn't ask for that. But
so lots of learning.
Right. Learning
experiences that you can use as a positive influence going forward. So tell me, you're a social worker, Nancy, before, and how did that help you, your training help you take care of Taylor?
Well, I have, because of my career, I've seen lots of people go through a lot of medical issues and other types of hard times. And so it gave me great hope because I knew that we could get through this. And it helped me know, I knew how to network, and I knew a little bit about medicine. So I wasn't coming at it from a totally, I wasn't from a total different area. I had worked as a medical social worker in dialysis and in some other areas, and it helped me a lot in terms of vocabulary and just familiarity, and I wasn't afraid of a hospital. And
it was not like all just
it wasn't all
a maze to
new.
you. You kind of could start and understand it a little bit.